Welcome to The Explainer. You know, if you've ever been involved with a school, maybe a local sports team, or a neighborhood charity, you probably know the exact feeling of sheer exhaustion I'm about to describe. We call it the dreaded fundraising treadmill. You spend weeks organizing, you're rallying volunteers, literally sacrificing your weekends to run a car wash or sell baked goods, only to realize that the second the event is over, the money just stops flowing. And next season? Well, you're right back at square one, starting from absolute zero. But what if there was a way to just step off that treadmill? Today, we're looking at source material from LiveGood Fundraising that introduces a radically different approach. It's a model based entirely on residual income and premium health supplements.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap for today. First up, the fundraising treadmill. Second, we'll be unpacking the revenue math. Third, a solution for every cause. And finally, number 4, zero risk, infinite reward.
So starting with Section 1, the fundraising treadmill, the exhaustion of one-and-done events.
This is absolutely the universal pain point for school administrators, nonprofit organizers, and charity leaders everywhere. Standard fundraising campaigns are just notoriously high effort and low yield, right? You're constantly asking your community to buy things they don't necessarily even need just to support the cause. It demands this massive spike in energy from your volunteers for a singular one-time financial payout that drives up almost immediately. But when we starkly contrast those traditional methods with the LiveGood model, the difference is honestly night and day. Instead of relying on one-time transactions like those car washes and bake sales for temporary earnings, the LiveGood model offers a completely different paradigm. It replaces those one-off transactions with a system of residual income, and it's based on high-quality, affordable health supplements that people actually want to reorder anyway. So rather than selling a temporary sugar rush, organizations are offering premium health products. When a supporter buys a supplement they genuinely love and decides, hey, I'm going to keep taking this monthly, the organization doesn't just earn money today, they earn money every single month that supporter reorders.
That brings us to Section 2, unpacking the revenue math. Exactly how this 30% residual structure compounds over time.
So let's really break down how this recurring 30% revenue actually works, because we need to understand how a single customer action translates into a sustainable, ongoing revenue stream. It's a combined 30% compensation structure that's designed to maximize both immediate impact and long-term sustainability. And it starts right here with a 20% upfront win. When a member of your organization shares their link and brings in a new customer, the organization earns an immediate 20% on that very first order. This is absolutely crucial because, let's face it, nonprofits and teams, they still need that instant gratification and immediate cash flow to fund the current season, buy new equipment, or honestly just keep the lights on. It powerfully rewards the immediate effort of the volunteer right out of the gate.
But the second half of this math equation is where things get really interesting. The 10% recurring income. After that initial 20% payout, the organization then earns 10% on recurring orders for life. This is the absolute core of how the recurring 30% revenue structure flows across a customer's entire life cycle to create this massive snowball effect. Because we're talking about daily health supplements that people consume and reorder regularly, that 10% triggers month after month. Imagine getting 10 new supporters this month and then another 10 next month. Well, by month 2, you're earning the initial 20% on the new group plus that 10% residual on the first group. The money compounds, meaning your earnings keep growing even if your active fundraising efforts take a break.
Let's map out this exact life cycle just to see how it all flows together. Step 1 is simple. A student, a player, or a charity member just shares their personalized link with family or friends. Step 2, the supporter makes a purchase, and boom, the organization earns that initial 20%. Step 3, the supporter loves the product, they put it on a monthly reorder, and the organization earns 10% on those recurring orders for life. It literally transforms a one-time charitable favor into a mutually beneficial, long-term ecosystem for both health and finances.
So the crucial point here, and this is a huge takeaway, is that by offering a product people genuinely consume and reorder, your organization earns money month after month, year after year, from every single customer you bring in. The fundraiser effectively never ends, even after all the flyers are put away and the sports season is long over. The financial foundation of your group just keeps getting stronger. Moving right along to Section 3, a solution for every cause. Let's look at who can actually use this residual model.
You know, often we think of fundraising strictly in terms of, say, high school marching bands or a traveling baseball team. But the applicability of this residual model stretches across a massive, massive sector of our society. To put it into perspective, there are over 2 million nonprofit organizations in the USA alone, and thousands more worldwide.
Every single one of these organizations requires funding to operate, to grow, and actually achieve their mission. That is over 2 million groups stuck on that traditional fundraising treadmill we talked about, constantly seeking a better, more sustainable way to support their causes.
And this brilliantly illustrates just how wide this goes. The diversity of these groups is incredible. It isn't just for schools and education, though PTAs and booster clubs are a huge part of it. It spans right across youth and children's programs, sports and athletics, from local soccer leagues to gymnastics, churches and faith-based ministries, animal rescues, veterans organizations, and even emergency services and disaster relief. The need for sustainable, recurring revenue is truly universal. So whether you're running a tiny local community garden or a massive humanitarian relief charity, the mechanics of earning a residual income through these health products apply perfectly.
Which brings us to Section 4, Zero Risk, Infinite Reward. How the barrier to entry is completely removed.
Now, anytime a new operational model is introduced to a nonprofit board or a school administration, there's always natural skepticism, right? The very first questions are always, okay, what is this going to cost us? And who on earth is going to manage it? The absolute brilliance of the LiveGood model outlined in our sources is how it directly tackles these logistical hurdles by completely removing those traditional barriers to entry. Let's rapidly fire through exactly why this is so accessible. First off, it is completely free to join with absolutely zero upfront costs. There's no expensive inventory to buy in advance and store in some poor volunteer's garage, which means zero financial risk to the organization. On top of that, the administrative burden is totally lifted. LiveGood provides the flyers, the sales tracking tools, and personalized links for every single member, student, or player. That even allows organizations to easily track individual sales and give out awards. They even supply easy-to-use guide videos and pre-written emails to make sharing simple, the whole shebang. The heavy lifting is quite literally done for you.
So let's leave off with a final thought here. If you are an organizer, a dedicated parent, or a volunteer, ask yourself, what if the effort you put in today paid your organization for the next 10 years? Traditional fundraising asks you to trade your precious time for a single dollar today. Residual fundraising asks you to invest your time to build a revenue stream that outlasts your current season, supports your cause indefinitely, and totally transforms the financial future of your organization. It is an incredibly powerful shift in perspective, and one that is absolutely worth exploring for whatever cause you hold dear. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep learning.